where does he sit in relation to other players? It's very difficult to compare eras, isn't it? I mean, I think all we can say is of the players that we saw, since we've been watching cricket, say since the 1970s. So, there's Jeffrey, there's Kevin Peterson, there's Graham Gooch. I loved watching David Gower bat. There's Alistair Cook in terms of that big churn of runs, and there's Joe Root. I mean, where does he sit among those players?
Graham Gooch, for me, still actually just gets top spot because although his tally of runs was passed a while ago by both Cook and Root, it was around 8,900. But he had to bat in that era when there was some high class bowling attacks around the world, and the pitches weren't great either. And he still managed to score those runs. So to me, Graham Gooch, and he had that dominance as well. He scored 20 hundreds, but so many of those hundreds were scored in very difficult circumstances against the likes of the Great West Indies attack, Waqar and Wasim, obviously the Australians who were pretty good at various points. Particularly the West Indies were an outstanding and Pakistan actually were a pretty outstanding attack in the 80s and early 90s. And Root, of course, still hasn't made 100 in Australia, has he? A test 100. So, that's a sort of one little hurdle still to overcome. Gower, I agree with you. A beautiful player. He was certainly someone. Gooch and Gower, I found impossible to bowl at. Gooch because he was just absolutely relentless and very, very quick to pick anything short and also hit the ball on the up. Gower because he just made batting look so easy. And you couldn't have it, you didn't have any length to him because if you bowled fractionally short to Gower, he swiveled and flicked you away for four through the leg side with a sort of pull shot. And if you just fractionally overpitched or gave him an inch of width, he flayed you through the offside almost nonchalantly. And the other one I'd pick out is KP. His impact on games, obviously his incredible innings at the Oval in 2005, and then subsequently in India and in Sri Lanka and against the South Africans at Headingley. Those sort of innings, no other current English player could have played, I don't think. Perhaps Harry Brook could have done, I suppose, but no other English player had quite that ability to dominate opposing attacks.
Yeah, I agree with you. In terms of the players that we have seen, I mean, Kevin Peterson was a phenomenal player and played some of the most breathtaking innings that I've seen. So those three in a year that you mentioned, and then the Oval innings, and other innings as well, and things like the switch hit when he hit Murley into the Hollis stand at Edgbaston, things like that. Yeah, I mean, he was a phenomenal player to watch and enjoy. You really could relish what he was coming up with as a batter. I mean, there's a huge amount to admire from Joe Root. I mean, 35 test hundreds and just a brilliant technician, and carrying the England team as well at times. Brilliant player in Asia as well. Brilliant player of slow
Mm.
bowling.
He will eventually. I think probably in this series, actually, he'll overtake Alistair Cook's record for runs on the subcontinent by a visiting player. Runs hell for leather for everybody else's runs as much as he does his own, and is brilliant at rotating the strike. One of the best sweepers of a ball I've ever seen. Incredible. And double hundreds in India on turning pitches. And actually, such a humble man too, isn't he? He's so modest. You hear from current players, he's in the dressing room, you'd never know this was a man who scored 13,000 test runs and 3,500s. He's just got that incredible modesty and humility, hasn't he, as well? Will always give everything for the team. And you can't speak more highly of that, really.